This week on the Digital Coffee, Instagram are reinstating the chronological feed in 2022. And Facebook are launching something they are calling professional profiles for creators. And TikTok are launching a standalone seller app. All that and more after this. Good morning, and welcome to the Digital Coffee. This is your weekly dose of digital marketing and social media news for small business. My name is Amanda Webb, and thank you for joining me today. For those of you who are watching on Facebook, saying hello to Tim because he's left a comment already. If you leave a comment on this show, you will get a copy of the Digital Coffee newspaper into your direct message inbox. And if you're wondering what you should comment on, one, you could even just tell me, do you even use Pinterest? And if you do, is it a place where you watch videos? You can also tell me, because we are supposed to be sharing a cup of digital coffee, digital or not, let me know what's in your mug. Is it actually coffee? Have you got tea? Have you got something a little bit fancy, a little bit nicer? I mean, it is getting cold. Hot chocolate would be nice right now. If you're on YouTube, I'm not leaving you out, because you will see pinned to the top of the chat box a link where you can get your own copy of the Digital Coffee. Now, we've got some really interesting and perhaps exciting news for today. So leave your comments. Let me know what you think about the stories. Oh, I almost forgot. At 10:30 a.m, if you are a Twitterer, and even if you're not, why don't you come along and join the Twitter space that I co-host with May King Sang, and I have another guest host today, Tim Lewis, who is watching here on Facebook. Tim says, I often try to use Pinterest, but it never gets my full attention. Yeah, I'm a bit like that with Pinterest. I've never really gotten excited about it. So Tim is my other guest co-host on today's Twitter space at 10:30 a.m. If you go over to Twitter to my account at Spiderworking, you will see a link pinned to the top there that will bring you into the space when we start at 10:30. Oh, and there's Lee. Good morning, Lee, who is drinking coffee as usual. I have to wait because I talk too fast already. I even had a dream the other day about how fast I talk. I can't drink coffee until I finish the show. Anyway, we get on to the news.
Hi, Sasha Lydia from Think Outside the Bot, and you're watching the Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Instagram is bringing back the chronological feed. This is what people have been asking for. Now, when I say they are bringing back the chronological feed, yes, they are, but it's going to be a choice, just like you have on Twitter. You will be able to choose to opt into the chronological feed. And that means people have been asking for that. As I've mentioned before, if you go onto Twitter and Instagram launch a new feature, underneath it, you'll see loads of people saying, oh, we just want the chronological feed. Well, now they're going to get it. But as I discovered when I decided to switch off the algorithm on Twitter for a little while, it doesn't actually make the experience better. I don't know if it's going to be different on Instagram. So what will people do? All those people who want the chronological feed will switch on the chronological feed. Will they discover that the experience isn't quite so good? Will they forget that they've switched it on and thus start thinking that Instagram's gone rubbish recently? I mean, that is a danger. That's what happened to me and Twitter for a while until I realized that the algorithm was actually a good thing. Will people actually start seeing more of the content from the people that they want to see content from, rather than what the algorithm has decided they want to see content from? And will that translate into an uptick in engagement? Or will both of these things happen? It's going to be really interesting to find out what will happen. I was never a fan of algorithms, but I am now, because I've seen what happens when you switch them off. I mean, social networks at the best of times aren't that aren't always enjoyable, but they're definitely more enjoyable when you're seeing the content you want to. And of course, as we'll probably discuss on the Space After Show, that in fact, sometimes the algorithm can just push you deeper and deeper into your bubble rather than letting you expand outside it. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, how many people switch it on. Lots of people watching today. Lee says she knows Pinterest would be great for well shot. You know, there's a lot to do on social, and I'm not sure, I'm always kind of like, I tried Pinterest for a while. It is good at driving traffic to a website, but I always wonder about the quality of that traffic. I'd love somebody who actually does Pinterest to let me know, is it worth putting all that extra time and effort in? Good morning. Only into the office, so you haven't had a chance to get your coffee yet. Well, you know what? I am honoured that you have joined me before you've got your coffee, Melanie. It's great to see you here. And good morning to Mary. You forget to... Your tea has gone cold. You know what I'm doing? Let me find it. This is my office mug now, because that keeps happening to me. This keeps my tea warm like forever. And I hate looking over and seeing that cold cup of tea. Completely off topic. Melanie says, Pinterest have got in touch with me this week and offering me some one-to-one time with them next week to discuss. I'm just going to mention that I got a similar offer and they never showed up. They didn't even send me an email to say they weren't going to show up. So let me know if that happens to you. Hopefully it won't. Hopefully they will actually show up to the call. Okay, right. I should probably move on with the other stories. I'm going to ignore the fact that the postman's pulled up outside.
This is Making Sang, First Name Making from the Firma Creator, and you have been watching the Digital Coffee Show with Amanda Webb.
In the past, Facebook has always drawn a line between business, which should happen on a page, and personal, which should happen on a profile, on a friend account. It's always drawn that distinction. It's always said this is where business should happen, this is where your friend stuff happens. And yes, of course, there has been a follow button there for profiles for quite a while. Initially, it was brought in for journalists so that they could, I suppose, reach out to people to comment on things. I don't know. But that's been around for a while. But still, there was the distinction. You were not supposed to do business on your personal profile. But times have changed. They have changed. Facebook is actually launching creator profiles and professional creator profiles. And what these are, it's your regular Facebook, it's your friend account with some extra features. And those extra features are stats, which we know for me, that's what makes it a business account as soon as you get stats. And also some new monetization options for your content. Essentially for content creators to promote their content better and maybe to make some money out of it. Now, this is the first time that they've actually allowed profiles to do anything like this, and it is really interesting. I imagine I'm just going to put the screen grab up. This is what it's going to look like. Firstly, I wonder, are you going to be invited to a creator account? Are they going to say, do you want to switch? Or is this something you'll have to apply for? We can only see. And if this turns out like LinkedIn creator mode, we're going to see lots of new features that will entice creators, that will really push creators to move over to this new mode. I suppose the question that needs to be asked about this is, when you switch over, will you see a decline in reach on your posts? I mean, you won't actually really know because we don't know what the reach on our profiles are at the moment, but I guess you can measure it by engagement. It's going to be interesting to see. This is definitely an interesting move from Facebook.
Hi, I'm Danielle from Webb, and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
That link sticker on Instagram is still really new, right? It's exceptionally new, but they've already upgraded it. Yes. In fact, if you go to my Instagram account, which I have been using occasionally recently, you'll see a story. You'll see a story with a link sticker on it. And that link sticker does not just display the link that I am sending people to. No, it's actually allowed me to customize the text that I put on there. This isn't mine. This is the example from Instagram. So when you go in now, you put in the link and then underneath you click a plus button and you can customize the text. And obviously then that makes it way more clickable. You don't have to go and add text afterwards and add loads of arrows to say click here to get. You're actually going to be able to say what it is. We call this anchor text on websites, so I guess that's what it is here. I think this is a massive update. I was a cynic about the link sticker. I wasn't sure people would click the link. I wasn't sure Instagram even wanted people to click the link. But even with my tiny audience, I am seeing every single time I put a link sticker up, people do click. And for other people that I work with, I'm actually seeing a massive amount of clicks on their link sticker. So this can only amplify that a little bit more. Good news, I think, from Instagram. I can see Timmy's asking, was I stood up by Pinterest? Yes, I was. How dare they? Do they not know who they are? Tim says he's had that feature for a week or two. Really? I only just got it. Last week when I did the digital coffee, it wasn't there. This week it is. So you obviously got early access. You lucky, lucky person.
I'm Ant McGinley and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
It's frustrating when you want to listen to a recorded Twitter space. You know it's recorded, like my one. And a few weeks ago, they let us have a playback function. It's recorded. You can go, if you don't join me live, do join me live, but if you don't join me live, you can always go back and you can listen to the show. Unless you were on desktop, which is probably where a lot of my audience would want to listen to the show. While they're working away, they can have it playing in the background. And I don't know what replays are like because I don't do much on the replay thing, but the battery on your phone when you do a Twitter space, it's like voomp, voomp. It's like my battery, which could last me 2 days, is in half by the time I've ended doing a Twitter space. So for many reasons, it's good to have it on desktop. Thankfully, Twitter spaces are now available on replay on desktop. So we can all breathe a sigh of relief. Thank you very much, Twitter. Good morning to people. Lee says the link sticker got you really interested in Instagram again. I was excited when I realized you could do it. Yeah, it's a good feature and it seems crazy that they were requiring you to have 10,000 people to link. Now, the thing with Instagram is I don't think they're ever going to allow linking in the feed, and I actually think that's a good thing because that's not what Instagram is about. But I think it does work within stories. I think it's kind of a good feature to have there. I suppose the downside to this was I thought it was going to rob you of all the direct messaging and the proper relationships you could get into by direct messaging people links, but seems to be working. So I was probably wrong. I don't say that often. Well, actually, I say that loads. Good morning to Mark, Pocket Video School. Will I be seeing you next week at the Atomic Christmas Party? If you don't know what that is, I will share photos. Good morning to Howie. Would you be more amazing if Twitter let us contribute? Yes. I'm hoping that's going to be next. In fairness, they have been racing ahead with features here. So hopefully we will soon be able to contribute to a space via desktop, which will save your phone battery. And it will mean you can plug in fancy microphones without 10 gazillion adapters, which I don't even do. My voice on Twitter space. It is just my voice.
Hey, I'm Christine Gritman, and you are watching The Digital Coffee with social media superstar Amanda Webb.
That's so sweet, Christine. The problem with working in social media, tell me if this sounds familiar to you. You go to a social network to do something business related. You go in, somehow you get distracted. You end up scrolling through stuff and looking at stuff and engaging with stuff nothing to do with business, and then you go, oh no, I am procrastinating again, I must go back to work, and you leave that social network. And the instant you leave that social network, you go, oh, I went there to do something, and you go back into the social network, and that cycle can continue over and over again until you finally get to work. And that's why standalone apps like Business Suite, like Messenger, both on desktop and on mobile, are really useful. They cut away that distraction so you can go in and you can go, I am doing business. Now, TikTok have launched a new app just in Indonesia at the moment to help you do exactly that. So if you sell product on TikTok, they've launched a new seller app, and that seller app will enable you to go in to manage your products. I don't even think that's the right screen grab, so I'm going to take that down. It will let you go in, it will let you manage the products that you sell, so I guess update your catalogue. It will help you manage orders, it will help you manage refunds and returns. And of all the social networks, TikTok is the worst for distractions. Because, to be honest, you can't go to TikTok for 5 minutes. You can't go for a quick look at TikTok. That does not exist. You're there, 20 minutes minimum. Probably way longer than that. So I think this is a huge asset. It's going to be great to see tools like this appear. I would love one that was just, not for me, but for clients, that was just the shop for Instagram and Facebook. So a meta, see how I'm using their new word, a meta shopping app would be fabulous, because that really will help businesses manage their time more effectively. I do wonder though, is this actually what social media wants? Surely they want us to spend more time on platform, but that's another story for another day. I went on social media to do something in 2014 and I've been there ever since. Yeah, I know that feeling, Tim. Good morning to Deirdre, who is watching on YouTube. Great to see you here. Whoa, I'm wondering what that screen grab was that I put up on the screen, because I don't think it was TikTok. I'm staring at it going, what is that? Okay, let's see who is next. Oh, could it be somebody who's watching now?
Hi, I'm Lee from Wellshot and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb. Cheers.
As a business, it is tempting to try and do everything yourself. Like everything. Back in the day, I used to run a gift hamper for those of you that are in the US, a gift basket company. And when I started that business, it was my first business. I was learning all the way. I even considered learning how to make baskets so I could make my own baskets for the gifts to go into. It sounds stupid now, but it wasn't for me at the time. But I think as our businesses grow, we realise that actually some tasks we need to hand over. We don't need to create everything from scratch. And I think this is why the big social media companies sometimes acquire a tool, buy a tool, rather than starting from scratch. And this is exactly what Pinterest has done this week. They have acquired a business called, bear with me a second, Vochi. V-O-C-H-I, Vochi. I'm not quite sure how you say it. And this is a short form video creation app. It's very TikTok. It's got stickers, it's got features and filters and all sorts of things that you can do. This is going to save Pinterest a ton of time, because if they were trying to create that from scratch, it was going to take them time, it was going to take them money. This way it's only taking them money, and it's going to take them a lot less time to integrate that into their existing tool. And the reason they say they are adding this, we all know they just want a bit of that short video creation action, right? They know that's what everyone is doing. They say they want this to help creators bring more quality content to Pinterest, which is why I'm asking you. I never go to Pinterest. I went to Pinterest researching a tattoo, and I'll be getting another one when I'm 50. Which is a few years away yet. Not many years, obviously, because I'm considering it now. And that's probably where I will start looking for inspiration. But I'm not a big Pinterester. Would I watch video on Pinterest? I think I would just rather go to a standalone video platform like YouTube or TikTok, or at a push Instagram Reels, rather than going onto Pinterest to watch videos. So can this be successful for them? Possibly. But it could just end up the way that Facebook video is. And I know I'm kind of being a little bit ironic here because I'm broadcasting live on Facebook and there's loads of you who've been watching since the beginning of the show, but it could be a case that people actually don't want to watch long form video on the platform. Again, I think we'll just have to wait and see.
I'm Ian Anderson-Gray and you're watching Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Is Instagram about to change its navigation? This is something that it looks like they are working on. It looks like that their Instagram stories could match their Instagram reels. So actually, to navigate to the next story, you will swipe up rather than swiping across. This sounds familiar. We see something like this on TikTok. Could it be that they think new users coming to them from TikTok, does that actually happen, will want this new form of navigation? I think it's going to be a little bit confusing because by the looks of things, and again, until we see this properly in action, we won't know. To move on to the next slide in a story, you tap left if you want to go back and right if you want to go forward. Is that going to continue? And then when you want to move on to the next story, you'll have to swipe up. That's a lot of coordination. I'm not a coordinated person. I can't dance. I do dance. I can't dance. And I find like that navigation could be quite confusing for people. I don't think this is a good thing, but I can see why they would want to standardize their navigation across reels and stories. It's an interesting one, isn't it? I can see. Here we go. Talking about Pinterest, Tim, I think that's the problem. I don't really use Pinterest as a consumer. And you know what, Tim, you are in the UK where people do. Apparently in Ireland, nobody uses Pinterest, even though it's a very good business in terms of being a bit, oh, it's a good business. Yeah, you know, I like Pinterest. I think they're very smart, but I don't like using Pinterest. And I think maybe if you're e-commerce, in fact, if you are e-commerce, and you're based in the United States or the United Kingdom, I think that's the time to use Pinterest, really. For me, Pinterest is an ideas board. I know they consider and promote themselves as a search engine. Yet, you know, initially that's what it was, an ideas board. And I think the further they get away from that, I suppose it does work, you know, with tutorials. You know, we used to have to follow tutorials on Pinterest. They were these big instructor graphics and you had to go from piece to piece. I suppose when I think about it like that, actually videos could work really well on Pinterest. And relating to the Instagram story, I hate that they keep messing around with the UI. UI is user interface for anyone who's wondering. Yeah, I agree. I just feel that tapping left and right and swiping up is just a little bit too much for my uncoordinated brain to deal with. But I suppose that might just be me. That might just be me and my weirdness. Who knows? That is it. Okay, firstly, before you go, don't go yet. Next week's show is not a news show. Next week's show is my Christmas stocking of predictions show for 2022. It is the last show of the year and I will be making a guess of what is going to happen in the world of digital marketing in 2022. I'm also going to have a look back at what I said last year. And was I on the ball? Was I on the ball? Am I just going to be saying the same things this year? So do join me next week. It's not news. It is just the Christmas stocking of predictions. That is all from me here for this week. Don't forget to head over to Twitter Spaces at 10:30 a.m. You can join in. You can tell me that I am wrong about everything. You can agree with me if you want to. Tim Lewis will be there and hopefully May King will be joining us as well as my co-hosts. I will see you, if I don't see you there, I will see you here. Same bat time, same bat place next week. Until then, bye-bye.